Tuesday, October 8th, 2013, 3:30 a.m. You're dead asleep, and it's a school night. You can see a faint light in your bedroom that wakes you up. You fell asleep with the TV on again. But that's okay. That's okay, that's fine. The light isn't too bright, so as long as nothing loud comes on, you'll be able to power through it until tomorrow morning. But that's when it starts. Someone hitting a cowbell, a drum roll on a floor tom. Then, the bass comes in with the or is that just me? I really loved some of the old late night TV options that my cable company provided in middle school and high school. I would wake up late at night really often, sometimes like 5 or 6 times a week, and I wouldn't be able to fall asleep. So before I had a smartphone, the best thing to do was turn on the TV to see what was on. My favorite TV channels of all time each had their own little thing that they would do late at night, be it an entire separate block with unrelated content to what they would show, or something a little bit different, something where they would show their normal programming but a different style. There are a couple of channels I would prefer over others, but I would usually stick to the same 4 or 5. Today, I thought it would be really cool if we went over those and I tried to stir up some memories for other people. This one didn't really have a specific name, but in early middle school, I would put on Disney Channel when I would wake up in the middle of the night. There was something about the harmless animated TV shows that would leave my mind at ease to fall back asleep. It was also guaranteed that if there was like a horror movie trailer airing on television, that I wouldn't have to watch any of this because they would not show a horror trailer on Disney Channel, so that's kind of cool. What was kind of interesting about this channel was that late at night they would show some of the lesser animated Disney shows, which I ended up liking a lot more than the regular stuff. Some of my favorites included stuff like Brandy and Mr. Whiskers, Dave the Barbarian, the Lilo and Stitch TV show, and Fish Hooks. If that last one doesn't spark some kind of weird nostalgia drug, I don't know what you're on. This channel was one that I didn't stick on for too long, as eventually I grew more accustomed to the other available channels.
Hello out there from TV land, the every night good TV brand for your viewing delight. It's Nick at Night.
Nick at Night was my bread and butter for late night TV. It introduced me to probably all of the common sitcoms that people love today. Home Improvement, Family Matters, The Nanny, and George Lopez. Oh, sorry, did I say common sitcoms people love? What I meant to say was sitcoms that slap so fucking hard that nobody remembers because all they care about is Friends or The Office. All joking aside, George Lopez really was one of my favorite TV shows that was on the Nick at Night block. Even though there was that meme of waking up in a cold sweat at 3 in the morning with Lowrider playing a little bit too loud on your TV, I think it was still a pretty decent show. It put a working class Latin family in the spotlight and showed basic sitcom tropes like a runaway child, bullying, dyslexia, unemployment, and so many other topics. It's kind of interesting now that I think about it. Many of the sitcoms in my generation of Nick at Night were trying to normalize these minority families and bring them into what probably were majority white households. And most of these shows were trying to teach us acceptance on those. I mean, I already mentioned George Lopez and Family Matters, some of the more popular ones. But even The Nanny introduced me to some Jewish culture, even though a lot of it was kind of like a 1990s stereotype of what a Jewish family was. And some shows started running after my time, like Hanging with Mr. Cooper and Awkwafina's Nora from Queens show diversity in their scheduling choices. Wait, is Nick at Night a diverse... I don't even want to finish that thought because I don't know if that joke goes too far, so I'm just going to move on to the next one. Move on to this next channel. Adult Swim is the main late-night block on the Cartoon Network television channel. It's one of the channels I appreciate now that I don't have cable, but I still had a small love for it when I could. King of the Hill was one of my favorite shows to begin falling asleep to because it showed early enough where I would be falling asleep, and it was just so tame compared to the other shows that were showing at the time. There was no laugh track, no loud music, There weren't any big flashes of light or changes in animation, and the show was so mundane that it kept a low volume to lull me to sleep. I wouldn't watch any of the other shows at the time because the comedy stylings felt a little bit too mature for me. I mean, I was 14, I wasn't, like, big brain at that time. Also, Robot Chicken and anything claymation still scares the shit out of me, so anytime I can avoid anything claymation, I'm gonna try to do that. Later on in life, I started to grow to appreciate some of the other Adult Swim shows. Their absurdist humor was something I really became interested in with the rise of animations on YouTube, a topic I covered in one of my last videos. Be sure to hit the iCard up here if you haven't watched that yet. It's a really fun video. I personally think it's one of my better ones. But yeah, Adult Swim was known for getting weird at some points in its programming, and I ate that shit up later on. Some of the classics are Aqua Teen Hunger Force, a show about a group of anthropomorphic fast food items and their hijinks in South New Jersey. Boondocks, an anime-inspired show about a black family that recently moved to a mainly white suburb and deals with some fish-out-of-the-water antics. And The Venture Bros, a parody of 60s cartoons like Johnny Quest about two brothers and their sci-fi misadventures. And that's not to mention the countless live-action programming available now on the channel, like The Eric Andre Show, Tim and Eric's Awesome Show, or Check It Out with Steve Brule. There's one more show that's popular with the Adult Swim audience, but I think it's become highly overrated, and superfans of the show are some of the most obnoxious people on the face of the earth. So I won't mention it by name here. But I think you can take a wild guess at what show I would be talking about based on context clues. I'm Pickle Rick! Adult Swim has been around for a really long time, and even without all of its original programming, it's collected a nice list of some of the best adult animation to hit the TV screen. Since they're a subsidiary of the Warner Company, most of their original programming is also available on HBO Max. So if you shell out the 15 bones a month for that access already, I'd give some of the shows a try. They're really something special.
That's it for Dragon Ball.
Oh yeah, I've still got it, baby!
Dragon Ball Z is next.
Toonami was yet another late-night block on Cartoon Network in my golden years. Unlike Adult Swim, Toonami was more known for its Japanese anime programming, all shows that were localized and dubbed over with English voice actors to premiere to an American audience. Whereas Adult Swim was a nightly occurrence, Toonami's block was only available on like Friday or Saturday nights, so there wasn't a whole lot of time dedicated to the program. Toonami was canceled in 2008 due to low ratings. As a prank in 2012, Adult Swim hosted a night of anime in honor of Toonami, and enough people reached out to Adult Swim and former Toonami programmers on Twitter that the block was brought back in full and re-premiered on May 26th of 2012. Toonami was hosted by a CG robot character named Tom, who was voiced by classic anime voice actor Steve Blum. Blum is more commonly known as the voice of Spike Spiegel from Cowboy Bebop, Orochimaru from Naruto, or Tank Dempsey in the Call of Duty Zombies series. Speaking of Naruto and Cowboy Bebop, Toonami was the premier place to watch localized anime in the early 2000s. They showcased the big three anime programs, Dragon Ball Z, One Piece, and Naruto, but also had some shows that were less common in anime discussions at the time, like Inuyasha, Bleach, and Gurren Lagann. My brothers and I used to stay up late at night together every so often to watch Naruto and Dragon Ball Z together, even buying into some of the other media provided by these Japanese juggernauts, like video games or the manga. But some of the other shows were completely lost to me because I didn't know anything about them. It also didn't help that Toonami has a very firm belief on only showing dubbed over anime. And at the time, some of the best anime available wasn't localized like that. It wasn't until years later that I became a huge fucking nerd and started watching anime in my free time, and I thank Toonami for opening the door to me to that kind of world. There's even been a resurgence recently, as this current wave of hip-hop and rap has had huge anime influences, also probably because of growing up with the Toonami block. From Lupe Fiasco referencing Dragon Ball Z in a song, to Denzel Curry referencing Death Note and Soul Eater. Even Kanye West has an entire music video based on Akira for his song Stronger. It's impressive to see anime having such an impact on a community that I wasn't even expecting, honestly.
You're watching Comedy Central.
It makes you feel good.
Good. It's the future of television.
Now we'll close off with another channel that didn't specifically have a late night block, but was still pretty influential to my growing up. Comedy Central was well known for their adult comedy shows like South Park or Tosh.0. However, from midnight until like 5 a.m., Comedy Central would show its regular programming but uncensored. Every curse word, every joke that took guidelines too far, sometimes even partial nudity, Comedy Central would show it in this block. This is where I got to see some of my favorite movies at the time, the way they were supposed to be shown, man-ass and all. As for how they censored it, they would normally just bleep out the word entirely, or if it was a movie, they would more often than not just drop the audio altogether for one word or phrase. Other stations would try to redub the line with a different word, and those were notoriously bad. Watch this famously bad Snakes on a Plane censor for FX.
Enough is enough! I have had it with these monkey-fighting snakes on this Monday to Friday plane! Everybody strap in! I'm about to open some freaking windows.
Comedy Central would completely throw out these censors after a certain time, and they would show movies and TV shows the way they were created. Every so often, they would even show episodes of a TV show, a stand-up comedy special, or even an entire show that wouldn't be able to be censored because of how dirty or bad it was. Some famous examples are the episodes of South Park where the Prophet Muhammad was fully portrayed, which is a huge sin in Muslim culture. Some of the more raunchy Dane Cook comedy specials, and the entire series of the animated show Drawn Together. Even I wouldn't watch Drawn Together at the time because of how bad I thought it was, but later on I found it on Hulu and watched it all the way through. It didn't seem nearly as bad as Comedy Central made it out to be.
Look out, Sue! Here we come! Oh, I'll get it. Why don't you wait in the car and open the windows a bit? Ling Ling's been in there all day.
But then again, maybe by the time I watched it through, I just became numb to that style of humor. I think it's funny to think about all the stuff that I used to watch to help me fall asleep when I was in high school. Like, I'd really just leave the TV on all night, which now doesn't make any sense to me because I need complete darkness in a bedroom to fall asleep. I'll still listen to music and things, but not too often. It's also interesting to think about how this falling asleep with the TV on has evolved so much over the past few years. It used to be that if you wanted to fall asleep with the TV on, you had to just deal with whatever was playing at the time. With all these streaming services and things available now, we have the entire history of television and film at our fingertips, whenever we want. And some of them even automatically shut off after 2 or 3 episodes to conserve power and save your spot in the series. But still, with the entire world of choice at your fingertips, people will still choose whatever is most comfortable to them, and will probably watch the same TV shows over and over again out of habit. There isn't anything wrong with that, but there's more to life than one NBC sitcom from the 2000s. Which ironically brings me to my next point of conclusion. I'm workshopping an idea for a new video series that I've had in the back of my mind for a while. I've always had the mindset of, why would I watch something again if I could just spend that time watching something new? And with my wealth of experience from trying these new things, I've run into a lot of different things, from movies to TV shows to albums to video games to podcasts to all different types of art that some people have either never heard of or never even considered. So I thought that I should make a series based on the more obscure of these things, and maybe even try to convince just one person to try out this new thing. I'll even analyze some of the biggest reasons as to why you possibly aren't watching or playing or listening to whatever I talk about. This is just an excuse to talk about some of my favorite stuff in an organized way, with a bit more research and history on the thing at hand. Be sure to subscribe to stay updated on when I start posting these. It might not be every single week, but I'll try to post something every Wednesday on this channel until otherwise noted. Or until I get a real job that'll pay me money. But even then, I'll try to keep posting videos because I love making these. I love writing them, I love doing the shoots, I love editing them. It's nice to keep my hands busy instead of the nothingness. Also, be sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter to keep up to date on what I post and when I post it, as well as a meme or 6 when it comes to Twitter. Down below, I'll link to my website for business inquiries in case anyone has interest in hiring me as an editor for their videos or something along those lines. Other than that, that's all I've got for you guys today. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope to see you on the next one.